Welcome to having difficult conversations with confidence, clear communication that prevents conflict. My name is Amanda Silver, and I'm here with the New Hampshire Community Loan Fund. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to join me today. I know how busy you are as a business owner, because I am busy as well. In this training, we'll focus on how to handle difficult conversations with employees, partners, vendors, or collaborators in a way that prevents conflict and protects your relationships. Let's normalize this. Difficult conversations are part of running your business, and avoiding them is expensive. It costs time, money, energy, and it often creates repeat problems. The goal here is not to be harsh. The goal is for you to be clear, early on, and constructive, so things do not escalate. Your early action is going to protect your relationships. By the end of this training, you'll have a plan for real conversation. Specifically, you're going to be able to clarify the real issue, set the conversation up for success, draft a complete opener using the tool, the 4 I's, choose reset moves to handle defensiveness or high heat, and then finally commit to a next step so this actually happens. This is going to be a working session. You'll see prompts on the slides, and when you get to a prompt, I want you to pause the video, jot down your notes, and then press play to continue. So go ahead and get some paper and a pen and choose one real difficult conversation that you want to work on. This should be a conversation that focuses on some kind of interpersonal challenge. I want to introduce myself so you know who you're learning from. I run Amanda Silver Consulting, a leadership development consulting firm and small business. For the past 24 years, I've supported leaders and teams who want to make a difference by strengthening culture, communication, and performance. I do this in 2 main ways. I work directly with CEOs, business owners, and senior leadership to turn teams around through coaching, leadership training, and consulting. And I partner with foundations, member-based associations, and mission-driven businesses to design and deliver cohort-based trainings and programs. I do this work in a particular way. This is the framework that guides everything I do. At the center, you'll see the ultimate goal: thriving, high-performing teams. At the heart of those teams are belonging and equity and inclusion. And to get there, we really need 3 pillars: resilient leadership, transparent communication, and healthy systems. When I'm working with clients, I focus on all of these. Today, as we talk about difficult conversations, what we're really talking about is the overlap between resilient leadership and transparent communication. Difficult conversations live right there. Resilient leadership means that you can stay grounded even when you're triggered or you're overwhelmed. Transparent communication means that you can name what's true with specifics so that your business can move forward. I'm going to start with a story because it's the kind of situation business owners run into all the time. Meet Alex. Alex runs a growing residential cleaning company. Multiple crews, recurring clients, and new customers coming in each month. Business is growing, which is great for Alex, but he's operating at capacity. He's executing all day, solving problems, managing schedules, and trying to keep quality high. and he's overwhelmed. He really needs everyone around him to perform to expectations, because if they don't, everything backs up. A few months ago, Alex hired a marketing vendor, Sarah, to manage his Google business profile, run local ads, and publish weekly posts so that the lead flow stays steady while he focuses on his operations. But over time, a pattern has started. The posts are late, ad updates are delayed, reporting promised but is not delivered, messages are unanswered for days. And now it's really affecting leads for Alex, which is affecting staffing, schedules, cash flow, and stress. So Alex is pissed. He's annoyed at Sarah, and he's also annoyed at himself because he knows he waited too long. His inner loop sounds like, I don't want to be a jerk. I don't want to lose her. Replacing her would be more work for me. But I'm already doing marketing at night because I can't rely on her, and that's not sustainable. So Alex is stuck. He's afraid to create more work by addressing it, but he's actually creating more work by avoiding it. Now it's your turn. I want you to choose your version of Alex's story. Who is your conversation with? What pattern needs to change? And what do you want instead? I want you to pick something real because we're going to build language that you can actually use. The first thing we want to do is get clear internally. What is getting in the way of your difficult conversation? What are the first things that come to mind for you? It's really important that before we jump into the work of having the conversation, we do the internal work of getting clear so that you can overcome whatever those barriers are. So some common barriers that I have come across in my work with business owners: fear of conflict, defensiveness from the other person, mindset stuff like assuming negative intent, wanting to be right, relationship barriers like low trust and power dynamics that you are aware of, communication barriers. You need to give feedback to somebody who's not actually a great listener, and you know that. Or practical barriers. You just don't know when to do it, or you've been avoiding it for so long that it feels like a much bigger situation than it would have if you started right at the beginning. So I want to be clear, all of these are normal, but we also need to shift from avoiding these important conversations to embracing them. So I'm going to offer you a reframe here, and I want you to try it on. Difficult conversations are conversations that you want to have in service of growth and improving outcomes. So I want to offer you a reframe. Difficult conversations are conversations you want to have in service of growth and improving outcomes. Outcomes for you might mean reliability, quality, timelines, customer experience, cash flow, or your capacity as the owner. I want you to think about what a clear outcome might be in your situation right now. So let's drop back into Alex's story. This checklist here is going to prevent escalation before the conversation even starts. First thing, positive intent. You're doing this to improve outcomes and protect your relationship. Second, you want to make sure your feedback or your conversation is specific and timely, that you're bringing facts and examples, not saying always and never, which are generalities. Third is that you want to be clear and able to share the impact and connect behavior to business outcomes. And then finally, you want to find the right context. You want to choose a setting where you can be calm and clear. So for Alex, the right context looks like a scheduled 20-minute call with Alex's notes in front of him, not a reactive text at 9 p.m. after he's already annoyed. The first thing we want to do as we prepare for a difficult conversation is to tease out the symptoms from the root issue. Often we're really clear on the symptoms because they're happening in real time to us. But we may not be as clear on the root issue. So we have to tease those things apart from one another. One piece of your preparation is to clarify that for yourself. Here are a few questions to do that. Number 1, what keeps happening? Number 2, what is the real issue underneath that? And number 3, what's the pattern and the impact? So going back to Alex for a second, the symptom is Sarah's always late. She's flaky, she's not responsive. But that's not really usable. It's emotional, and it will definitely invite defensiveness on Sarah's part. The root issue, when Alex digs a little bit deeper, is our agreement about timelines and communication is not being met. It's affecting lead flow and my capacity, and we need a clear standard going forward. That's the shift that you need to make from symptom to root issue. That's what's going to make your conversation productive. So, in a moment, I'd love for you to pause and jot down 3 lines that will form the backbone of your conversation. Complete these sentences. The issue is, the impact is, and the request expectation is. Pause the video and jot down your answers, and then go ahead and press play when you're ready. Welcome back. What you wrote is your anchor. If your conversation gets tense, you can come back to these 3 lines and stay grounded. So we're going to hold Alex in mind here. This is what those 3 lines might sound like for him. Issue. Deliverables and response times aren't consistent with what we agreed to. Impact. The lead flow becomes unpredictable, and I'm doing marketing at night. The request and the expectation is, we agreed to deadlines, weekly check-ins, and a clear response time expectation. So it's super helpful to plan out what we're going to share when we have a difficult conversation. I want to introduce a planning tool nicknamed the 4 I's to help you prepare. This is a great framework that you can use in both professional and personal situations. I use it all the time. It's most applicable for situations in which you are having interpersonal challenges with someone. The approach is based loosely on the book Difficult Conversations by Bruce Patton, Douglas Stone, and Sheila Heen. Here are the 4 I's. They stand for intention, incident, impact, and invention. These are 4 components to have ready and prepared for any difficult conversation that you move into. Getting clear on these in advance will help you feel prepared and remain clear, calm, and forward-focused, even when a conversation gets heated. Let's dig into each one a little bit further. Intention is really about clearing and empathy. Your intent is what you're doing. It's the internal work before you start speaking with the person that you're going to be having the difficult conversation with. You want to get really clear about your purpose for having the conversation. And to be clear, getting even because you're hurt or telling someone how annoyed you are is not a great intent. I can guarantee you that conversation is not going to go very well. You want to make sure you're getting to the fullest, most clear reason that relates to how you work together. So, for example, needing to do good work together, that is a good intent. Incident is really about developing accuracy and accountability while you're communicating. So, one way I like to tell people to think about this is to consider the question, what happened? And drill it down to the data, to the observable data. You want to be able to play back to whomever you're talking to what it is they did or didn't do, said or didn't say, that is making things difficult or bothering you. The next, impact, is often going to be the part that we want to skip. The next, impact, is often going to be the part that we want to skip over, and yet this is critical, if not the most critical part of your speaking. In this piece, you are letting the person know how their actions or non-actions affect you or the business. It really gives you the opportunity to be responsible because you're able to own your own feelings, thoughts, and reactions. And it also gives the person you're talking to a chance to fully understand that whether they intended or not, they are having an impact that they should know about. This part is super important because for the most part, we don't really know what the impact is that we're having on people unless they let us know. And we tend to avoid it because in this moment, we could be vulnerable. So I want to be clear as well that the impact isn't so much necessarily on a person personally. It could be on your team or your business, and that's okay too. Finally, with invention, we're coming up with a new plan and exploring possibilities. It's very likely that what should happen is that the conversation should end with some mutual commitments. How can you work or be together in the future in a way that works for everyone? So you may want to come up with a question that gets to that piece of the conversation. One caveat here is that if you have some very clear expectations that you need to state, you want to state them. You don't want to have the individual guessing about what those expectations might be. So, I'm going to say, if you ever freeze, you can always come back to these 4 stems, right? Intention, I want to talk about this because blah, blah, blah. Incident, here's what I observed. Impact, I want to be clear that the impact was this, even though that might not have been your intention. And invention, going forward, let's talk about this. Or what would success look like by next week? So I'm going to invite you right now to practice with this and draft your own 4 eyes opener. Don't aim for perfect, aim for clear and usable. I'm going to pause here and give you a chance to do your drafting. When you're done, go ahead and press play. Okay, welcome back. The reason that this works is simple. Most people feel nervous because they're improvising when they have to have a difficult conversation. If you have a structure and a draft, you are going to feel steadier. Okay, so I want to go back to Alex now so you can hear what this sounds like out loud. First, we're going to start with a messy version. Alex delivering feedback to Sarah without prepping with the 4 eyes. So this, to be clear, is what you should not do. Sarah, I don't know what's going on lately, but this has been so frustrating. Things are always late and I can't get a response from you. I'm paying for this and I shouldn't have to chase you. I'm honestly just tired of dealing with it. So notice, this is vague, always and never. And it's mostly Alex's emotion. It's understandable, but it really invites defensiveness because it doesn't clearly name the pattern and the expectation. So I want to be clear here that Alex is not necessarily wrong, but what we're trying to work with today is how to deliver difficult conversation in a way that's going to help you get to the outcome that you want. So we're going to talk about the same incident using the 4 eyes version. Sarah, I want to talk about this because I value our partnership and I need our marketing support to be reliable as the business grows. Over the last 6 weeks, a few things have happened repeatedly. The weekly post has gone up late 4 times. The ad update that we agreed to for Monday didn't happen until Thursday. And there were 2 messages I sent that weren't answered for 3 days. The impact is that the lead flow is becoming unpredictable, and I'm spending time at night trying to troubleshoot marketing tasks when I should be focused on operations. It also makes it really hard to plan staffing and schedules when I'm just not sure what the leads are and when they're coming in. So going forward, I want us to reset expectations. What would it take to hit our weekly deadlines consistently? Can we agree on a communication standard, like same-day response for urgent items or a weekly 10-minute check-in so nothing drifts? That was the 4 eyes. It's clear, it's specific, it's forward-focused. It protects the relationship and it names the standard. Alex is being really clear with Sarah, both about what she did not complete and also about the impact, which she may not be thinking about. So that's what we want you to go for. The 4 eyes are great. They're going to help you prepare with confidence. But we know that conversations are a 2-way street, and you may still end up bumping up against some kind of reaction from the person that you're talking to. So what are you going to do then? Let's go back to Alex's situation. He's delivered the feedback calmly, using the 4 eyes as his preparation, and Sarah still gets defensive. She says, "I've been slammed, Alex. You're not my only client. I'm doing the best that I can." So what do? I want to offer you a few reset moves. These are your safety net. They're going to be short phrases that can bring you back to clarity. These are 5 moves that can help when you're facing heat or defensiveness. They can help keep you on track. The first is to name and pause. The second is to return to your intention. The third is to go back to the data, the specifics that you already mentioned. The fourth, reconnect to the impact. And the fifth is to refocus on what the next step might look like. So I'm going to be a little more specific with these. Here's a few lines that you can use. "I hear that this is frustrating, Sarah. Let's slow down. I really want to get to a place where we can both do the work that needs to happen. I'm bringing this up because I want us to succeed. Listen, I want to anchor this in the examples so we stay clear. The reason that this matters is, what would success look like and what needs to happen to get there?" So now I want to invite you to pick 2 that feel natural in your voice. Let's go back to Alex one more time. When the conversation gets tense, you're going to want 2 reliable phrases that you can use without thinking. So Alex might say in response to Sarah, I know you're working hard and I appreciate that. I'm bringing this up because I want our work together to succeed. That's the impact. Moving forward, I'd like to make sure that we're on the same page with expectations. Let's talk about a communication standard, like the same-day response for urgent items and a weekly 10-minute check-in. Will that work for you? That's the invention. So I want you to choose 2 reset moves and write your own go-to invention right now. The biggest shift for Alex isn't perfect wording. It's that he schedules the conversation and resets the standard. So I want to ask you right now to do the same. Schedule this conversation within 7 days and use the 4 I's to prep in advance. It might even be helpful for you to practice the conversation with a trusted colleague. Decide what follow-up looks like for you. Is it a checkpoint date? And what success will look like from there. So this becomes accountability, not just a conversation. Before we close today, here's what we did. You clarified the real issue, the impact, and the standard. You used the 4 I's to draft a clear opener and practice your conversation. And you chose reset moves so you can stay grounded and keep the conversation on track if defensiveness shows up. Now the only thing left is your action. So I want you to schedule it and use what you wrote. Thank you so much for investing in your leadership. If you want to keep building your resilient leadership and communication skills as a business owner, I'd love to keep talking. Here are a few ways for us to stay connected. You can DM me on LinkedIn with Leadership Reset for a bonus guide that I'll send to you. Feel free to schedule a free 30-minute consultation at amandasilver.com at the link there if you want support preparing for a specific conversation in your business. And I'd love for you to join my quarterly newsletter for free workshops, tips, and tools. Wishing you tremendous success with your difficult conversation.